would have to go back on the app that I used because I had to use my phone. I didn't have anything, so I used it was on my notes at first, and then
Uh-huh.
I went to Google Docs and formatted it into a script form. So I would
Well,
have
Final Draft has a 9.99 version for your phone that you can just script write on that. So I definitely recommend, even if you can't, yes.
that I used. 'Cause I had to use my phone. I didn't have anything, so I used it. Oh, I On can my hear notes, myself. And then
Uh-huh.
I went to Google Docs and formatted it into a script form.
Yeah.
So I will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Can you hear me? Hold on one
I
second.
can
Hon.
hear myself. I had already had said this.
Oh, okay. So with that, I Google Notes and all that stuff is good. But like if you're breaking into the industry and things like that, there's a lot of free services that you can use. Celtics, there's a lot of free softwares that you can use script formatting wise that you can I would definitely recommend you starting there as well when you start writing. Getting into the field is, I'm proud of you for going to notes and Google Docs and Word and stuff like that just to get it all out. But just to take yourself to the next level to make sure that you are using, some of the standards that, Hollywood uses. And there's a lot of free versions that you can use that will help you with that.
Fade In is also a good one, Tay. That's what I started using before I downloaded Final Draft
What's
on
it called?
my. It's called Fade In.
Oh,
FA.
Faith.
And yeah, that's another good one that I used to use.
Is it
Um,
free?
it is free. Yes.
Yes, that's good.
Fade,
Yeah.
Fade, fade in.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Hmm.
That's dope. See, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, that's a new one. So I'm sure there's a lot of new apps that are out there for script formatting and writing.
Here's why I would absolutely strongly suggest. Well, first of all, welcome to our YouTube community, right? All those who are joining the 5-day challenge for free. We are finishing up our VIP portion, and then we're going to move right into just overall talking about idea creation and day one, right? And so we're finishing up right now with Tay, giving her advice on writing, and then we'll probably repeat all of this stuff for the sake of you all. But bear with us for just a moment, and thank you guys for joining. Okay. So with that said, Tay, it's so important that you use a script writing software.
Yeah.
It's going to literally make your life easier downstream. You can leave it a note, you can put it in Word, whatever the case may be. But what happens is when you start to plan out the production, which we will go over tomorrow, we'll actually talk about more in detail about how to plan your production. It's harder to break down a script when it's in a note or Word. You have to think there are, even on a small scale project where it's just 3 people, you're still wearing multiple hats. There's still different departments at work. And each department needs to know their marching orders. So the prop, for instance, prop department is anybody, anything that the actor touches. There should be someone in charge of all props. Well, they need to go into your script and break down everything that the actor touches. So they have a list of all the props, what scenes they're in, when those scenes are being filmed, where they're being filmed, and when to have them. So they're properly organized. Wardrobe. There's, if you're shooting it, even if it's a short, you may shoot it out of order. So you may start with the final scene first and then the first scene last. Well, in that, you have to keep track of what people are wearing each scene, especially their different days that your story may span across. And so whoever's over wardrobe needs to identify what the actors are wearing, when they're wearing it, where it is within the movie, right? To keep continuity straight, right? And it locations, it keeps going down the list. You have locations, you have set design, right? You have food, right? Even food folks, you know what I mean? We like to just order food, but they need to look at the script and see how many pages are you doing on this day? What time is the right time to bring the food? Because you should have it about 6 hours after you begin, working. But there's so many considerations, so many departments need to go into the script and break down and pull out what they need. Transportation, if you have any cars, picture cars, or anything like that, right? They need to go in and pull out what they need. And so the faster you get used to keeping that in a script, the easier it is going to be to break that down. Okay. This is Ernestine. Hold on. Queen E-Tre. Hey, are you on my content challenge? Wow. No, you're live. You're on right now. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right. Bye. Hey, y'all. That was Ernestine Johnson. I was making sure that everything sounded good. She's like my other second set of ears as well. But okay, so awesome. All right, so let's go into the general community. So now we're streaming this live, guys. So be careful, Tay and Nikkei, what you want to say, right? Because now the rest of the world can hear you. But we're streaming this live now, and I want to welcome you all officially to our 5-day content challenge. This is day number 1, where we are talking about idea creation when it comes to your content. Now, overall, what you guys can expect in the next 5 days with this challenge is to gain some, not just insight, but practical tools and knowledge and information on how to properly do content. Right. Most people are on social media and they're doing it wrong. They're just scrolling, or there are many people with incredible talents that haven't made any money on social media. There are also people who have businesses, entrepreneurs, or business, or may work for someone in a marketing business, in a marketing capacity in a business, and needs to dominate content, needs to maximize social media and how that's done. And that's what this challenge is for. It's for anyone who just has a strong desire to get more knowledge, information, and practical steps on content overall. And that content is marketing, is skits, it's TikToks, reels, YouTube, all the way up to narrative work, documentaries, shorts, feature films. We have it all for you, right? Mm-hmm. And so for those who don't know, I'm Eugene Bush, owner of E-Tre Productions, successful video production company that started off in Chicago and has since expanded down to Atlanta. Been doing production for over a decade, and I've had the pleasure of having so many celebrities and projects in front of my camera, right? I've had Kevin Hart, from Kevin Hart to Halle Berry to
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. That's what I'm thinking of. Adam Sandler. So many people in front of my camera. And I've also traveled the world doing video. I've recorded in more than half the states in this country and in 3 countries in the world doing video. So we've been doing it for a very long time. And maybe about 9 years ago, 8 years ago, my wife expressed an interest in writing. So for those who don't know, we've been married for 21 years. And thank you. And my wife expressed an interest in writing about 8 years ago. I was already doing production, and the first script she wrote, I took it, handed it to a bunch of friends, and they tore it up. They were like, this is amateurish, right? And she cried. But what's amazing about her is she took all the notes, took all the feedback, dove right in, made the changes necessary, and we produced that film, right? And this was, again, 9 years ago, whatever that was. And we received distribution on that film. We actually made money from our first short film, which was super dope, right? And also speaks to her natural talent. Now, yeah, you can talk about you. I can go all day about you.
I'm Maggie Bush. I'm part of E-Tre Productions. I have been writing for E-Tre Productions for now, it's been about 9 years, huh? Easily. And recently, Maggie be writing is my new tagline that I go through. I have been writing since we've gotten here. We started off, I left a corporate job working in the medical field. And then I did get my degree in journalism, magna cum laude. And as a wife, as a mother, we moved here and we just started to create. And the beautiful thing about our union is that, he produced everything that I wrote. And with that, we have over dozens of short films that we've created for free. That's how we got noticed by Cass Seegers, was my mentor, and she directed and brought the funding in for our first feature film, Mediator.
It wasn't the first.
Or I keep saying that's the first, because Mixed Emotions was.
It was Mixed Emotions started off as a web series that we made it into a feature.
We made it into a feature,
right? And then we have shorts and other stuff.
But our feature film, Mediator, won best mental health thriller in Montreal film festivals. What was the other one?
Toronto International Film Fest. We won.
Yes.
We made it into Cannes. right, with that film. But it's award-winning film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm also a writer at Tyler Perry Studio and a writer's assistant there as well. This year, I was honored and privileged to be in the first writers' room for Sisters season 7. So I'm one of 3 beautiful Black women who are a part of that, Afro-Latina woman and myself, and 3 other young men, Black men. So we're able to create in the first writers' room. So I'm honored to be a part of that. And all that came from where people started to see my work as writers. One thing that we said, we were very intentional of creating some of the stuff that I was writing, because as a writer, no one sees your stuff. And that's the hard part about it. It's that no one knows that you'll be a good writer until they see it. So in the age of content creation, where you all are in right now, it's actually, you guys got the leg up, because you can use social media and everything else for people to see your stuff, or events like what Eugene and Ernestine have once a month, Greenlit ATL, where you can shoot your film and then it be shown here, or network with others. So you guys are in a great place right now from when we started, because none of that was really available back then when we're old. So it didn't happen back then.
She's older than me. But yeah, so thank you so much, wife. And so what's dope is we, again, for the next 5 days, guys, we're gonna take you through the whole journey. So day 1, idea, and coming up with the idea and how to properly format that idea is really important, because it sets the stage for success for how you're going to make it through the rest of your project, right? How do you finish that project? So day 1 is idea. Day 2, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to plan your project. If you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, and you plan to fail, right? That mantra. You have to make a plan, even if it is just content, right? So again, we're talking about what people don't understand is, even if you're doing social media content, you're still moving into an industry that has got proven successful practices. Right. And it behooves you, right? It's to your benefit to utilize the practices of the industry and not just kind of try to recreate the wheel or do something on your own. So when you're doing a Hollywood production or, a feature film or anything else, you still got to plan. And those with the best plans, not that everything goes to plan, but at least when you make the plan, you increase your likelihood of success. Okay. So day 2 is planning. Day 3, we're going to show you how to shoot. So for all those who have a DSLR, or, if you own a Red Artery, whatever, we're going to talk about some of the highlights of that. But if you don't, if you just have an iPhone, we'll show you how to do that. If you have an Android, then you just don't need to be part of the challenge.
You know what?
I'm kidding.
Shade.
I'm kidding. I have an Android.
He's not kidding.
I was an Android
You're
guy
not kidding.
before iPhone. But if you're really serious about content creation, just get the iPhone. I'm telling you, things are just so much easier, even though there's benefits to Android. Okay, y'all don't come at me, Android users. It's just easier on the iPhone. Anyway, I can show you how to shoot on your phone, right? So that's going to be shooting. That's day 3. Day 4, we're talking about editing. What a lot of people are scared of. Yes, there is the fancy editing that can happen with fancy software, right? I use Adobe Premiere, industry standard. Other people use Final Draft. I'll touch on Premiere, so we'll do a quickly, overview of Premiere if you want to do it that way. But we're also going to show you how to edit on your phone, right? Using some of the apps that we use to do things really quickly, right? So you won't have to be scared of editing anymore. And then day 5, the last final day, is going to be, how do I post and monetize?
That's a good day.
Most folks don't understand you can make money in this industry, right? And YouTube and Facebook are the platforms that are paying. TikTok pays as well if you go live and people give you gifts, and especially if you're doing the AI stuff. Hi, another flower. Okay. If you're doing that, you can get, people are really getting paid doing that. But we're going to show you how to monetize and how to look for where you qualify to monetize. And so that's our 5 days. And so for those who are on the YouTube, we ask that you just share it. Okay. Don't just come in here and soak up information and see us looking great, right? It takes a lot to put this on. Okay. We're also going to be offering you, for the folks who are stay to the end of this 5-day challenge, we have some incredible offers for you to continue that journey. If you wanted our assistance, or if you want to escalate your value, save a whole lot of money and time, and really get some expertise involved in your content creation, we have a bunch of offers that we have for you. But you got to stay to the end to get those. All right. So the day one back here.
Day one.
Okay.
One.
So
Writing and creating.
writing and content creation. So I wanted my wife to be on this one specifically because she's not only written the short that we produced called Jaded years ago, but she herself has gone on to do, again, Mediator, award-winning film, Mixed Emotions with a writer's team. She had a writer's team of over 12 writers that she managed for over a year.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years?
About a year and a half. Yeah.
Yep. A year. It was actually the only writer's room in Atlanta for a very long time. Okay. So Maggie Bush managed that writer's room. And a bunch of writers came out of it to do their own projects, right? She's also done, when we first got here, she's written herself over 12 shorts, right? Over a dozen shorts that we were able to produce. She's written that. She's written an anthology series. She wrote for a bunch of press releases, social media content, website content, blogs. Exactly. She's written commercials that have been produced. And again, award-winning film, right? And now at Tyler Perry Studios, well, not writing right now because of the writer's strike, but was in the writer's room, right? As soon as the strike is over, she'll be back in the writer's room. Was in the writer's room, so you'll see episodes of Sisters with Maggie Bush's name on it. So she's well accomplished and successful writer in her own right. And so because she's done so much, we want to start this content challenge out with her insight, right? Of how do you create an amazing idea, and what are the proper steps that once you have that idea to put it in place to make sure you can be successful all the way to the end, right? And whether that goes for, again, no matter where you are. So let's talk about first, wife, the concepts for a, let's start with a movie, because we're going to start big and then scale it down. Okay. Well, how do you create an idea and a concept for a film?
Okay. So, for instance, Mediator is a mental health thriller that we've done. I started out with the concept, the theme of where I wanted to go with the young lady in the film, but I had to do some research. I knew I wanted to do a mental health film. So I did a lot of research on mental health and certain things that mannerisms. And I used to work at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Shout out to my NMH family.
What up, Northwestern?
And they allowed me to sit in on some of the sessions where some of the doctors would be able to diagnose people with certain things. We also blogged for a mental health company that they had a bunch of kids that they had mental health issues. And so doing all that research kind of helped me before I started to do the writing. And then before I started to do the actual writing, I started to outline the story. There is a structure that you should follow, especially in feature films. Right now, I am also working on, not currently, but I'm also futurely going to be writing for, a large network, and they have specific ways that they write. Tyler Perry Studios have a specific way that they write certain structures. But overall, the beginning aspect of it is getting your concept and your idea out, just getting it out, and then putting it into like a format. So initially it just looks like crap on the wall where you're just putting all your ideas out. Just the other day, you and I were taking a hike, and I had an idea and we were just talking it through. So before you even start doing the writing process, it is getting the themes out. It is getting your goal out. It is getting, what is this message going to be about, out into the open, out into the air, or your notes or whatever. So that's the beginning process of filmmaking.
Okay. Now I've heard people who have come to me with their ideas. Oh my God, Eugene, I have this wonderful idea for a movie, and I want my movie to speak to the youth. I want it to be something that youth can take and really learn from and get that they can be somebody in the future. I want this movie to impact them and encourage them to do something amazing. Is that the kind of talk you're saying when you're saying get the idea out?
No, so that's just your motivation, right? That's the beginning part of it. It's like, I have an idea and I want to empower, so that it's your calling. It's what I'm going to do to help the world. But what does that look like? Because that is so broad.
Right.
Like, so then now you have to narrow it down. So what about the youth that you want to talk about? Is it Is it drugs? Is it mental health? Or is it peer pressure? Whatever that is, that theme is. So now we have to scale it down to a theme. And then
Gotcha, bud.
excuse me. Oh, where's my person that's supposed to help me with wardrobe? Here.
Wardrobe.
Where's wardrobe? Thank you. At that point, so then now you get to your theme of it. So when someone's talking to you about an idea, now you break it down. What's the theme? What is your goal? What is the messaging behind it?
Okay. So now the theme, right? So again, you know what you want to happen, but now you got to think of a theme. So I want a movie about that has all these effects with young people, but I want it to be about high school.
Okay.
Right. I want the setting to be high school, and I want, them after they're graduating, right? Somebody who's depressed and may not know what they want to do in life, and now they have to move to finding the answers, right? Is that the theme? Is that now? Do I have the idea out?
It's not fleshed out all the way. You're getting closer though, because you're dealing with now you're scaling it down to high school. You're scaling it now down to where they're trying to figure it out. The pressures of youth, and then youth in this age versus the youth in back in the day. So then you're going to ask, are we talking about the kids now, or are we going back in time? So then you kind of just have to narrow it down as to that aspect of it. And so once you get into those details of a person, so then let's say, then I'll tell you, all right, so then who are we following, Eugene? And you'll say what?
Well, if it's a youth, then it'll be a young, handsome, striking young man
Uh-huh.
who happens to be 18, right?
Yes.
And comes out of high school.
Okay, what about him?
Well, he's really smart, bright. He got awards in high school
Mhm.
for best laugh and most successful, most likely to succeed,
Mhm.
right? He won those awards, but when he graduated, he didn't get into college and he can't find a job.
Good. So
Is that a good movie now?
So now, to me, now you're coloring in this person. You're coloring your protagonist, which is your main character of the story. So
Ooh.
I'm telling you, is this the story that we're going to follow? Are we following him? And you say, yes, we're following this guy. Okay, so then now we're going to now get into character development. So once we got that theme out, we're talking about a high school student who had everything made in high school, and now he's finding himself in between, in the hyphen of adulthood and youth. He still feels, just because you're 18 don't make you feel like you're an adult. He still feels like a kid, but the world looks at him as an adult. So now we're going to get into your protagonist and what is his issue? Does he feel like does he have a broken home? Does he feel like the need to be successful for his mom? Those type things are happening. Is he in a community where, Black men are accepted? So now we get into that very good character development. The best characters are those characters that you'll take into a journey where they're like the average Joes, and then you give them either some type of superpower or some type of mission. And once you give them that, now people can see themselves in that character. So then my favorite aspect of storytelling is character development. And so after we came up with that theme, that story, now we're going to develop his world and him.
Got it. And so, okay, so I do the work and I develop this guy's world and I make it a real world. I give him parents and a home, whether it's a broken home, whatever. So you feel like that's the next aspect. Okay, so now once he has a world and I know all about him, I still haven't told my movie yet.
Nope,
so then
you haven't. And so, but the good thing about character development is you can put that character, like you say, there's characters in my head or voices in my head. I can put this person anywhere now. Now let's color their world in, right? And let's get his goal. What is his goal? What is his weaknesses? What are his strengths? And when I tell people about character development, most people, they'll give you a script, they'll say, or they'll cast for something, they'll say 20s, light skin, and curly hair or whatever. And that to me is just the most basic general character development, character description. For me, I would like to say, You can say light skin or whatever, but you can say a young man who walks in very confident, but when his dad comes in, he curls in like a little boy, or those type attributes or when he comes into the room, he brightens up the room. As soon as he walks in, the atmosphere shifts. But when he goes home, he is depressed. Those are more of the character development that I recommend as a writer that you do. Is you don't just focus on the looks or the appearance, but you focus more on how they make you feel.
That's good. Okay. And so we got characters again. We're sticking on film, guys, for those who are just joining. We're talking about idea creation, and we're starting at the film phase, and stick with us, right? This thing is not going to last long. We're not going to be here all night, but stick with us and you'll learn how this applies even down to your content, your everyday content. Okay. So you brought some cool things, wife. You said, have the idea, put it out there, what the impact you want. That's fine to start there. Then you just start with a theme. What's the setting? Who are we talking about? And you mentioned a huge word that most people don't even know about, protagonist, right? It's the person we're following, right? You also mentioned that protagonist, the best stories make that protagonist either put them on a mission or give them some superpower. And then you go into diving into their world, who they are as a person, where they come from, what's their home like, what do they feel? Are they living the hyphen? What are they struggling with? So on and so forth. All right. So I got great characters. I got a theme, kind of what I want for them. What next? Now, how do I make a movie?
How do you make a movie? And so then at that point, then you will, once you got your ideas out, you have to at least know your end goal. You got to know what am I going to do at the end? Once you figure out the theme is, let's say the theme for this guy is to he discovers that he is great as a dancer, right? And so now we're going to take the world on a journey of him becoming that dancer. So that's our end goal.
Okay.
So then we'll start from the beginning. So then there are structures for a film that certain page counts, certain things should be happening, certain acts inciting incidents, your midpoint, your climax, all those things should definitely be a part of that script. That helps move your story along. I do recommend outlines and beat sheets. Beat sheets are like, this is what's going to happen in act 1, act 2. There are certain networks like for some of our shows, we have 5-act structures. So we'll have your teaser, you'll have your 3 acts, and then you'll have your tag. Those are the things that a lot of the networks use. So for me, it is, once you get all that out, you get your outline and your beat sheet done. And once you get all that out, and when you get your outline done, definitely do them like in paragraph form. So this way, when you start to write, or if you have a co-writer, this helps in that aspect too, because a lot of people don't know how to have co-writers. So it'll sound like 2 different scripts. If you like break it down in outline form, then another writer can come in and just write with you, because you already know the journey that we're going on. This is how they would speak. This is how they would behave.
Here's who they are, where they come from. Yeah.
That's like for how we did Mixed Emotions that you can find on Amazon Prime, volume 2. We had 12 writers, and you don't know which writer wrote what.
Yeah.
Because we had that structure in place.
Okay, awesome. All right. So we got that. So we got the end, we got the beginning, what they did, the theme, what happened. We got the characters we want in there, and then we apply the end, and we pretty much have a story now.
Yes.
Right. And then you should take that and put it into where?
So most Hollywood folks use Final Draft. There is a Final Draft version that's $9.99 on your phone. You can use it on your iPad as well. It's less expensive than the $200 one, but that is the standard. But we just learned that there was one called what did Nikkei say?
Fade in.
Fade in. Thank you, Nikkei.
There's Fade in. There's Celtics. I'm not sure if Celtics charges or anything.
I don't think they do.
But here's the thing, guys.
Celtics, CELTX.
There are some free stuff too, but there's going to be a point where you're going to have to really invest in yourself. So take your job seriously. You're a writer. This is your tool. So go ahead and invest in yourself. Take that $200 or whatever and use the industry standard. get into some courses, get into definitely for me what helps is like mentorship and getting into courses and things like that, because it's hard to Google everything.
Right.
And for me, it was like I just needed someone to help me through that process. And once you get it, it's just it becomes easier.
And the good news is, again, those who stay to the end of this 5-day challenge will receive a special offer to be mentored by the one and only Miss Maggie Bush. And so we've got some special offers for you all to help with that mentorship. All right. So we spent time on film. That's how you get to a process of a film, of a script. And there's a whole lot more that goes into it, right? She's skipping over major pieces, but those details can absolutely be learned in her mentorship program, which again, you'll learn about in just a couple more days. Yeah. Okay. So from film, does the same thing apply to a short film?
The same thing applies to a short film. So if you can tell a feature film, you can tell a short film.
Awesome. Same rules, same structure.
Same rules, same structure, just smaller version, bite-sized version of that.
Okay, cool. Now, how about a skit?
Skits are we talking about like improv skits or scripted or non-scripted skits?
Let's start with a scripted skit. So a narrative skit, similar to a skit or a TV show. So something similar to like a Petty Claims Court that Ernestine produced, or just a skit that's online.
Yep. So skits are definitely, they don't follow such a detailed structure. Hey there.
That's Mr. J. Morrison. The Legacy Center just walked by. We had to say what's up to the king. Okay, yes, sir. So we're live. We're doing a 5-day content challenge today. First day is idea content creation, right? And come on over here, Mr. J. Morrison. What's up, King Energy? Let's get on. What up? Y'all see who's in the building? King J. Morrison. Right. Okay, what's up? So yeah, we're just spending some time talking to people about idea and content creation. So the 5 days is going to be today's idea. Tomorrow we start planning the shoot, whether they're doing feature films all the way down to a skit. We talk about planning tomorrow. Day 3, we talk about shooting it. So whether they're shooting on a DSLR, kind of like this, or just their phones. Day 4, we're talking about editing. We're actually showing them, showing them that post, how to edit and get stuff out. Day 5 is monetization.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
that's strong. That's strong.
That's a complete process, right?
It's an acronym for all that.
Right.
Get a J. Morrison. Yeah, get a J. Morrison acronym for that.
We definitely need something like that.
Content creation yourself.
Right. Well, while you here, we done did a lot of content together, King. So what
60 terabytes worth. Literally
So
terabytes.
how did that come up?
Well, how was the process working with E-Tre? Like, in terms of trusting your content and what results have you seen from doing content with us?
What I enjoy the most about working with E-Tre is it truly allows you to be a creator, right? So I could spit out an idea and you'll be excited with me about the idea and help to nourish the idea, but then we'll softly and quickly get into conceptualizing it and kind of mind mapping it and program managing it. So, okay, you want to do a game show, great idea. Or you want to do a documentary, great idea. Or you want to do a corner class, great idea. And you want to stream it live at 3 platforms, great idea. So now, how
do we need to do to make it happen?
What about audio? What about lighting?
Right.
What about distribution? What platforms? What's the budget?
Right.
Who we're going to need? And so that's the cool part is that no matter what budget that we've had, no matter indoor, outdoor, whatever, E-Tre's been able to think through, well, okay, so it's too hot here, so we're going to need fans to cool this off. It's going to be too cold here, it's going to be too this. The lighting's going to bounce off of this. So those technical things it's a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah,
right?
A lot
of critical thinking and thinking ahead to get a good production that doesn't cost you a lot of remixes and doing it over. And oh man, nobody thought that we were going to need these kind of mics, right? So thinking ahead saves so much time and money and get you a good output.
Excellent. Now we've done a lot of social media content as well.
Yeah.
I believe I still hold the record for your most viral videos.
I think you do.
Okay, so on the social media side,
60 million views.
Mm.
on that one video,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I was like, we have so many others. Like we got the Houston's video that
Houston's, I don't know. I look back in like 2018, and that thing was like at 30 million on Facebook. Back in
2018.
yeah, I was-
Right.
a lot of good content and different kind of content too.
Yeah.
Protests,
Mhm.
educational content.
Courses, the marriage stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's diverse.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you jumping on.
And now we got the game show content.
Listen,
First financial game show ever.
you see the shirt, credit to cash.
Cash flow.
Listen,
Wednesday.
every Wednesday, this is not a shameless plug. Y'all make sure to tune into this game show.
Content though.
It's fire.
Game show, their own studio set.
Full set
Yeah.
TVs, graphics, buzzers. You know what I mean? They got professionals coming in,
Sponsors.
all of it. All of it is in there.
Giveaway on August 30th.
Not even so that's the giveaway this month. But just in case people go past this month, this concept is so fire. He's giving away assets.
Yes.
They have the
Cash
idea,
flow.
cash flowing assets. They have an idea to give away Airbnb, acre of land, a car on two-roll. That not just a car. Like Oprah was like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. No, Jay Morrison and King Energy are like, you get an asset, you get an asset, you get an asset, cash flowing, cash flowing assets as prizes for a game show. Come on, man.
So I think that goes back to our concept that you have to have that end in mind.
Mm.
So he had that whole concept already, just not just for a game show. What's the purpose of the game show? What's our goal for this game?
Right.
How are we gonna help our people with this game show?
Right.
So all that came about with the content creation. What we're doing now is the beginning of the creation.
And you know one thing,
concept.
what makes it unique?
Yeah,
How does my concept stand out from all the other concepts
yeah.
that are out there?
Well, there's a ton of game shows already out there.
Right.
You just took something that's pre-existing, didn't recreate the wheel. You didn't come up with
Right.
game show content.
Enhance.
You just enhanced it.
That's
You
right.
added your sauce to it,
Yeah.
right? That street corner class energy to a game show. It's Steve Harvey meets corner class, right? The whole deal. Right. Is this show. And so it's again, it's an amazing show, but it also speaks to Jay's drive, right? And what I love to see when I got down here, Jay was the one who brought my family down to Atlanta, right? And we've been working for years.
Y'all here visit me. Yes, bro.
Okay, yes, sir. Him and Jesus. The Lord used them. Yeah, the Lord used them. But what I love about Jay, and it's taught me a whole lot, is whole brands are being created from content.
Yeah.
Right? Like you were able to build not just a mogul, but we've raised millions. I tell people all the time, Treff, we didn't have any large bank backing it or large investment dealers. We were able to raise over 14 million, $15 million.
11 and a half.
11.5 million?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, don't want to misquote, but we know people.
15,000 partners.
$15,000 partners, $11 million, primarily off of Instagram, from content, from social media content, which is what gives us the motivation to really give back. We know the stuff that we do and what we provide works, because it's worked for folks like Mr. Jay Morrison. It's worked for Maggie Bush. She's at Tyler Perry Studios. It's worked for myself. It's a successful production company. And that's really what we want to make sure we
And
give
we're
back to you all.
sitting in the building, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund purchased,
That's right.
shooting the content about the content from the content that we use to raise the capital to buy the building.
Say
Oh, I'm out of here.
That part. Y'all say that. Like you can. Thank you, sir. Kind of bring it right over your head again. All right. Come back. All right, cool. All right, and we're back. So great break, man. That's Mr. Jay Morrison, who leader out here in the streets. But we've done so much work, right? With them. So back to content creation. So we
And
talked
make
about.
sure that if you all have any questions, so please put it in the.
Oh yes, we can see your chat messages, so you guys can definitely add some questions there, and you're going to be receiving more communication throughout the day. So we want this thing to be as impactful and useful as possible to all of you all. This isn't just about us and what we want to put out there. It really is about you receiving what you need in this season to elevate,
Right.
your careers and your platform. So
Right.
we talked about film, we talked about narratives, we just talked about a game show and other content, right? Going back to the idea for today, idea creation. I want to talk about the idea. What does it take to create an idea for a podcast?
Yeah, so you're familiar more with the podcast than anything. So you came up with an idea that you wanted to write a podcast or to do a podcast about the perfect podcast. If you haven't checked out the perfect podcast, please do so. It's hilarious.
And informative, but mostly hilarious.
But how the wonderful part about that the pressure that you had, I remember the first time you're like, how is this going to flow? Right? Because a lot of people have great ideas for podcasts. I want to talk about this, or I think it'd be great to talk about marriages, or it'd be great to talk about real estate or things like that. But they don't really know how to theme them out. So I think even for the basis of any content creation is really finding out your theme of what you're going to be talking about. Even as a brand, what is my niche? What is, Chester Gregory has his thing on horoscopes, and that took off, right? So that's his theme. That's what the messaging that he wants to get out. So I think starting a podcast is a similar vibe, is you got to get that theme. So that first day that you shot, we came up with 5 or 6 different concepts, and just broad strokes. This is kind of like the beginning, middle, and end of it, and go for it.
So then how to help the people, and this is where y'all wanted to take a note. How do I find my theme, Maggie Bush?
How do you find your theme?
Yeah.
So like you came up with the podcast theme already. So I think a lot of like even Tay we had on here earlier, our wonderful VIP member, she found a pain point in her that she wanted to talk about. And with that pain point, I think a lot of times it's those things that God tells you, the things that worries you, the thing that pains you the most. Those are the things that maybe you need to fix or you need to talk about.
Okay,
So,
hold on, pause.
Yeah.
That's the moment. Okay. If y'all didn't get no value out of today, how do I find my theme? It's probably in that thing that pains you the most. If it's something that pains you, it's probably an indication or idea that you were the one meant to solve that.
Yeah. And pain don't mean like, or it just irritates you, or that you see someone else doing and you feel like maybe they're doing it the wrong way. Well, then this is your time to just share with the world your viewpoints of it.
Yep. I've heard Bishop Jake say that, folks will turn their pain into passion.
Yep.
Right. The thing that you've gone through, just know you're not alone. Chances are other people are going through that. So if you've got any insight or, if you come out on the other side, you've got a testimony on something, that probably could be a theme. That's right. A theme to your movie, to your podcast, to your story, to your script, to your content, right? That's a theme. That thing you wake up that creates the most passion in you. What can you talk about for hours and never get tired? What can you do with your life and not get hungry? Right? What's that thing that just excites you from the inside? What is that? And don't be shy about put down what it is. Some people it's travel, some people it's children, some people it's missions, some people it's church,
some people it's style,
some people it's style and fashion,
food, cooking.
Some people it's sex. Yeah. Right? Like understand, find relationships, right? What is it that you're passionate that really moves you? And that's probably an indication of your theme.
So I heard someone say, your purpose is whatever God tells you your purpose is. Like, it's to serve God. As a believer, that's what I believe. My purpose is to serve God. My calling then will be something different. It's what am I called to share with the world? What am I called to do for my children or my marriage or those things or those folks around me? So whatever you're called to do, like you'll hear that, you'll feel that when you're in your sweet spot. You'll kind of know. I tell Eugene all the time that he's a wonderful actor, and he's always been acting since we met in high school. But now he's using that as, he's producing content for everyone else. But it was time for him to kind of do his own stuff because he's good at it. And it's proven because his podcast is successful and he uses those acting tools while he hosts Greenlit ATL. Him and Ernestine are the perfect co-hosts for that. Like literally, you can come and watch them and just feel their energy.
That's the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to that point, okay, so now you have your theme. Okay. So now we talked about a podcast. Is there any structure? Just really quick on podcasts. Is there any structure? So once I know my theme, what I want to talk about, is there any quick structure notes that we could use?
The structure that we use even for your podcast, we use the beginning, middle, end. We themed out. We're like, okay, what is this? This is the perfect co-host, the perfect producer, the perfect whatever. So because his involves around the perfect something, it became easier to then at that point find the topic. So today was what? The perfect leading man.
We had perfect leading man. We had the perfect child star.
Right.
We had the perfect girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hilarious episodes that are coming up. Okay.
But I think before all that, and now it became easier, right? So when we first started it was like, how is this going to go? How are we going to run this?
So I love that you brought that up because people think they need to get to this point before they begin. This point meaning, oh, it's easy. I know the themes. I know the episodes. I know the full thing. You feel like you need to get here before you start. And that's not how it works. When we were coming up with the theme for the podcast and meeting the productions that we work on, you're at the beginning, you're trying to figure it out, right? Now, if you're doing a feature, you do need to finish that script before you begin.
Yes, that's a whole different thing.
Right, because everything comes off the script. But when you're doing content, it's a whole lot more forgiving than you would believe.
Yep.
So you can start off doing content. She brought up Chester Gregory earlier, my twin. Chester Gregory is a Broadway mogul. Played Barry Gordy from Motown, right? Like he is a mogul. He is huge. Keke Palmer was inspired by Chester Gregory, right? This dude is super dope. He's a singer, dancer, actor. But online, when he would post his stuff, he wasn't getting no play, wasn't getting no hits, wasn't getting any value.
Say no. Just
okay. Very minimal. Right. And we would talk all the time about, how he can monetize accounts and can grow his platform, so on and so forth. And same thing. It was just, what are you most passionate about? Right. So yes, we know acting, singing, dancing, right? That's something you do. But is there anything else you're excited about? He was like, man, I love talking about stones and earthly healing, like natural healing methods and horoscopes and that whole thing. And so he started doing his own content based on horoscopes, and it took off. Yeah. It really took off. But it took us to identify what he was super passionate about in order for him to do that content. And in the beginning, we didn't know. It was trial and error. He put out a video. Okay, you look at the stats. Okay, people kind of like that. Let's try something else, right? And then we tried something else, and then he tried something else, and then finally he put out a horoscope video, and people loved it. Right. And he's like, and this fits. It's something I'm passionate about. I can keep talking about this. And now you see, he's like the horoscope king, right? This man's got me walking around with stones. Okay, I think. Let me see. I don't even know what stone this is.
Oh,
I don't know what stone.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Okay, I got that stone. I think this one is agate.
That's a caramel stone. The red
one.
one.
Which one is this?
It's for the C. It helps you with your confidence and your intuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one here, do you know what that one is?
Is that like a yellowish?
Yeah, it's kind of yellowish. Okay, see? All right. So I carry them, not because I know what they mean, but because they make me feel good and I like it. But Chess is the one that put me onto these stones, and that's again something he's passionate about, and he's able to turn that passion into content, right? And quick testimony, his content secured him a $50,000 deal. Somebody that was watching his horoscopes videos were like, man, I love you. I love what you're doing. I want to sow into what you're doing. So gave him 50 grand to start his TV show, his movie, whatever he wanted to do. Real cash check, right? So we do know that you can get paid from the platforms. Again, that's what we will be conquering. Day five, we'll talk about how the content can monetize. But understand, overall, your content allows connection. Everything that you all need is in the hands of people. Even when you think, so we're believers, and when you think God's word was in the mouth of people. It was people that made the Bible. right? And it was inspired by God, but it's in the hands of other people. So if you recognize that, then you recognize in order for me to get more money, get more acclaim, get more friends, more love, more whatever, I've got to be good at being able to connect with other people.
That's right.
Your content opens that door for those connections. Or I was having a conversation earlier today about with some single women, and they were like, well, where are the good men? Right? Kind of having that challenge. Well, there are good men on this planet, and they're asking the same thing. Where is my bride, my rib, my good thing? Right? Excuse me. And the challenge is a lot of women aren't making their voice loud enough and making your platform loud enough for him to find you. So if you can use your content to amplify your voice, to amplify your mission, your project, your business, your endeavor, it's an amplifier. You use your content to amplify that thing. It will create more connections. Through those connections, you will receive all the things you need: love, money, success, people, whatever.
And I think at that point, like, it's about people, right? So people want to be around others who are doing something, because it just sparks something in them as well. So if you're doing something, like some people talking about some Lil Wayne's so fine, all that stuff, it's because he's in purpose. It's because he's making his music. If Lil Wayne was just walking around, I don't know if people would think he's as fine. Or Jay-Z. No shade, but you know what I'm saying? I just feel like
that
it
passion,
takes the average person,
yes,
and turns them into this thing that people are like, I want to be a part of that.
yes. And that's you amplifying your purpose. Walk into that thing, embrace it, dominate in your field, and you'll see the results of it. So we're hoping that you guys learned something today on idea and content creation. We've got 8 minutes left before we got to jet out of here. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat now. Our VIP, do you have any questions, guys, before we jump off?
I don't think so. This was great.
Awesome.
No,
but-
I don't have any questions either. You kind of actually, I actually answered all my questions before I even got to ask my question.
Good.
Yay.
And make sure you have that table read before you
Yes, I
start
put it in
shooting.
my notes. I got my notepad right here taking notes.
Yes.
Okay, dope. Super dope. All right. So let's see if we got any other questions from anybody else in the audience. Okay, cool. All right. So we'll end here, right? We will have we won't belabor it, but tomorrow we will talk about how to plan your project. So for those who are listening to this now or listening on the replay, get your idea now. Like, have an idea, come up with a theme, follow things that we talked about, because I would love by the end of this 5 days for everyone to have a piece of content, not just a long laundry list of notes. Right? I want you to have a video done, and if you can have a short done, you can do that, but at least a piece of content done. So have your theme, think about what you want, what you're passionate about, what you want to talk about, and tomorrow we're actually going to talk about how to plan out to get this shoot done in the most effective and cost-effective, efficient and cost-effective way.
I think that's dope that you're challenging. This challenge is really a give back. It's to make sure that you all are out here creating.
Yep.
So invest in yourself, create, and tell your story.
Yep. Awesome. And if you love this, make sure you share it with a friend, invite somebody tomorrow. E-TreContentChallenge.com. They can go to register to receive the rest of it. And again, those who stay to the end have a special offer that we know you'll enjoy. So make sure you go with us on this journey of the full 5 days. Other than that, we are out. Love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Welcome. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.